Okay, easiest thing ever. I got kefir. That's way too much. You don't need that much. You really only need like a tablespoon for a mason jar. But it's been growing, so I have enough to share at this point, or eat. But here's how you do it. You just put it in a mason jar. Here's the whole prep. I just put organic milk and 2 or 3 cups. Let's do some organic milk, and that's it. Then you just put it in the jar. And then you want it to be 70 degrees. You don't want it to be any cooler if you can help it, and in the dark. So I just kind of made this little thing to keep it in the dark. And then I put it by this little light that I already happen to have out there. You can get it, and I stick it behind a toaster. And then you just keep it there for 36. I've even done it up to like 3.5 days. It just gets thicker. Which is just fine, but as little as 36 hours. Here is my kefir that has been sitting out since Friday a.m. I make a little dry erase marker so I remember. And it only takes 36 hours, a day and a half, but I had this out for 3 days now, and you could tell it's separated the whey and the curd. So the curd's on the top, the whey's on the bottom. And this is what it'll look like. And sometimes it doesn't, that's more than it needs to be. Sometimes it might just be just a little tiny separation, but you'll start to see the separation when it's ready. And if it goes longer, it just gets more curdy and gets more and more thick. So here's the tools. You got this strainer. You want it to be a little bit small space strainer. And then I just use the bowl, and I'll put the strainer right there, and then I will unscrew it and pour it in. So then I'll pour it right on in there. This is a little thicker than normal. I let it sit. It gets a little more creamy if you just do it for 36 hours. But then you're gonna just kind of push it all through the grate, because what you're doing is pushing through all the curd and the whey, so that all that is left is the kefir grains. So you're just kind of squishing it through gently and just keep going until it's all out. Okay, so I kept on just squishing it through, just kind of like you would cheese grater, kind of rubbing it over and then it all just goes through the end. And then, you know, right here, this is the curd and the whey, and I just kind of mix it back together so it's all same consistency. And then I'll just pour it into like any kind of glass container, like so. Kefir, ta-da! And so then this is the kefir grains. So these guys, they're very rubbery. They're dense, and they're not going to get pushed through the grate. And this is what I'll rinse this jar back out, and then I'll put these back in there. And you really only need a tablespoon, just 1 tablespoon for that whole jar, and it'll turn into kefir in as little as 36 hours. I usually wait at least 48 just because I get lazy. And then you can give this away, because these are the starter grains, and if you get too many of them, you can actually just eat them.